Hello, my name is Cassie Rose. Welcome back to my channel, and this week we are on the last dysfunction of 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. So we're going to jump straight into it because I am very excited that we got through all 5 dysfunctions, and I hope that you guys are too. If you've watched all of these, comment down below which one has been the most challenging to you. But today we're going to talk about the 5th dysfunction, which is inattention to results. Before we get started, go ahead and like and subscribe down below if you're not already subscribed, and also click the little notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I post a new video, which is every Saturday. Each dysfunction has grown on the other one as we've gone up this pyramid. And so trust creates a fear of conflict, which creates a lack of commitment to the organization, which leads to an avoidance of accountability. And now we're at an inattention to results. Avoidance of accountability creates an environment where this dysfunction can thrive. As Patrick Lencioni says, he talks about how when we avoid accountability, we're no longer interested in the results or the greater good of the organization or our goals. What we're interested in is our own ego and status. So what does this look like to be inattentive to results? Well, basically what it means is that you may be working, but you're not working toward your goals for the organization. You're working toward your own personal goals. You're working toward your own professional goals that are going to advance you, get you a promotion, get you noticed, get your ego boosted, and the organization will suffer. As a leader, serving over a team of people, because you are serving them as a leader, you are serving them in order to see the best out of them so that your organization can thrive. Now, when you are in this position and you see your team members who are inattentive to results, you can bet that it's because they just are avoiding accountability, because because they lack commitment to the organization, because they're afraid of conflict, because they don't trust anyone. A mouthful. But if you see a person on your team who's inattentive to results, it's a very high chance that you can track it back to this cause of a lack of trust. So how do we fix and combat inattention to results? The cause, the root, and the motivation for someone who is inattentive to organizational results is that they are attentive to their own agenda. They are more attentive to their own ego and status being boosted and themselves being noticed than they are to the overall goals of the organization. A few weeks ago, I talked about developing your why so that your people know exactly why they are serving this goal, why they are working every single day. What's the why for your organization? What's the vision? What's everyone working to accomplish? If that why is really firmly rooted in their minds, then we can build off of that. So the first thing that you need to do to create attention to results is create a solid why. A solid vision to build off of. Now, after we have that why, we need people to have a personal tie to it. We need people to care about it so that they will be committed. So what is it for them? Why are you working? What is it that you do? If you're in the tech industry, for example, because I live in the Silicon Valley, we live in a world where we have all of these tech organizations, and if you don't care about the why, if you don't have a solid vision, then you're just producing hardware or software. What's the vision behind it? What can your people, what can your team really grab onto and run with? Because the vision needs to be clear in order for people to run with it so that they can actually be producing results without being micromanaged. So if your why for a tech industry is, we want to see people advanced into the next generation. We want people to be productive beyond what they've known to be possible. We want people to see possibilities in the world and know that there is more that is within their grasp. There's all these different things that you could say, and genuinely it's up to the leader to care the most and to create this why and fashion a vision around it. But once you have that, you need to communicate it to your people. You need to communicate it to your people in a way that makes it so valuable and so important that they cannot ignore it, and it makes their own agenda less valuable than the vision of the organization. Because inattention to results, inattention in and of itself doesn't mean that they lack attention. It means their attention is fixed on something else, something other than the results of your organization. So what are the results that you are really looking for? What are the results that you want to see come to pass? You need to communicate that to your team. You need to communicate it in a way that really makes them ambitious toward accomplishing it, because it's up to the leader to communicate vision. It's up to the leader to be clear enough that people can grab onto the vision and run with it. One of the reasons it's so vital that we deal with this dysfunction of inattention to results is because it will create division among your team members, and then the vision will crumble even further. Division literally means two visions, division. Your vision is split. And so if you have team members who are focused on their personal vision of developing their career, getting promoted, moving up, making more money, seeming more important, this is their vision. And then you have the vision of the organization, and they're constantly pulling at each other for attention, for care, for development. And then you're not going to accomplish either one of them because you have a dysfunctional team and the vision of your organization will be ignored. And you have dysfunctional team members who aren't going to have the ability to get as far as they want because they don't have clear guidance. But when we come together and we deal with this inattention to results and we create a common vision that everybody can run with and everybody can care about, then we're going to have one vision. There's one thing that I'd like to say about inattention to results. A lot of the time, this comes from a place of insecurity for a lot of team members. It comes from a place where you don't really know who you are and you're trying to craft that and form that. As a leader, when you see people being inattentive to results, rather than punishing them or reprimanding them or making them feel less than, you need to recognize the genuine need that's rooted inside of that inattention to that lack that they're exhibiting. You need to look at them and care for your team. Care for the people that have been entrusted to you as a leader, because it is your job to develop them into the type of people that can really produce results. It's your job to care about your people and love them enough to say, I am going to pay attention. I'm going to pay attention to you, and I'm going to mentor you, and I'm going to work with you. This is going to tie together all of these 5 dysfunctions, is this idea of mentorship. How do you develop people? How do you develop people into committed, vision casting, thriving, accountable, conflict comfortable people? How do you create a team of people who trust each other? It requires mentorship and leadership. And I'm sure any number of people watching this could say, oh yeah, I've seen a team like this. I've seen a dysfunctional team. I've seen all of this stuff in this person and that person and that person. Anyone can point fingers and blame anybody else. But what a leader does is says, I'm in charge of this. And whatever my team lacks is due to my poor leadership. So how can I develop them, love them enough to push them and help them thrive? Inattention to results can start at the very top, because if a leader says, I'm the leader and you must listen to me, you're more of a boss than a leader. But what a true leader does is they care for their people. So first we talked about a lack of trust in a team, and that lack of trust really creates an unstable foundation for everything that we want to do in our organization, in our teams, in our leadership. So we need to build a stable foundation of trust. Then on top of that, we need to create a culture of conflict, productive conflict that allows us to be honest with the people that are around us. And on top of that comfortable conflict, we can then have a committed team. When we are comfortable with conflict and we know that we are in a safe place to have conflict, we will build a team that is comfortable and they can be committed to the vision of the organization. On top of that comes accountability. Thriving accountability helps us to be attentive to results. So this all builds on each other. And this last 5 weeks, if you haven't watched, I'll link right up here the first one somewhere. The first one, which is trust, talking about trust. I hope that this has been helpful to you, and I look forward to next week's video. If you have any suggestions for videos or topics that you'd like me to talk about as far as leadership goes, or really anything else, let me know down below in the comments. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.